Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Equestria Daily Fandom Podcast. This week's topic is about the Guardians of Harmony toy line. I'd like to welcome my guests. We have illustrious Q.
Ooga chaka, ooga, ooga, ooga chaka, ooga, ooga.
Okay, and Aqua. Man.
I mean, he stole my reference.
I can't fight this
Screw it.
feeling.
And then finally, we are Borg.
Resistance is futile or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, something along those lines, I don't know. So for a little refresher, Hasbro recently unveiled a toy line called Guardians of Harmony. The toys are completely lacking in brushes, and instead they look to have more of an action figure design. Awesome is at least the first word that comes to mind when I look at them. So the first question that I have for you guys is, what was your reactions upon seeing this toy line? We'll start with Borg.
First reaction was like, finally. Really, it was quote unquote finally. I knew it was going to happen. I knew it just had to. It was inevitable. Somebody there are people, whether you believe it or not, there are people in Hasbro who knows Bronies exists. They know that there are dedicated fan collectors that have been collecting every generation of My Little Pony. So it was really only a matter of time before they tried something new. And with the not so successful Equestria Girls toy line, it really only makes sense to try something in a totally different direction.
Equestria Girls wasn't successful? I was not aware of that. Is there some sort of sales figures chart that is showing that it's not really doing that well?
I believe that, yes, that is the case, that it wasn't doing that great, and I believe it's even mentioned a little bit in some of their quarterly reports.
Oh, so it probably within the quarterly reports, because those things are so big, I can never really tell what type of information is in there, but I'll definitely take your word for it. Aqua, how about yourself?
Well, first of all, I'm really flattered that Hasbro finally started reading the letters I've been sending them for the past 3 years, and they designed a toy line specifically designated to my, requests. Yet, in complete seriousness, though, it actually was a very pleasant surprise to see them go in this direction. I didn't expect to see, I guess for lack of a better term, something that's more directly typed towards our market, if you could call it that. I know we've had the comic for a while, and that's definitely not geared towards the typical audience of the show. But to see something this represents this level of investment on their part is very pleasantly shocking, I think I could even go so far as to say. I really never thought that they would actually do the plastic action figure. When you look at the size of the Spike thing, that looks like a kind of toy that I would have had when I was a kid, or my little brother would have had. So it looks nothing like the IP that we're familiar with, and that more than anything surprises me.
Yeah, definitely. It feels like, the licensees, everyone else has been having this sort of capability to just flesh out upon the show, but the toys have always remained the same. The toys have always remained the brushables or the Equestria Girls. They're all shiny, they make noise and stuff, but these things actually look like action figures, stuff that you would actually either put on a wall, never open, or just take out and complete, have fun with, have them make all of those noises that you make as a kid where you're and stuff dies. How about yourself, Q?
This is the Weird Noise podcast so far.
Yeah, I had to slap myself when I first saw it, because I could not believe that we were actually getting action figures. Seriously, it's what? What?
Yeah.
What? But then I was like, oh wow, this is so absolutely unbelievably cool. So, yay, it's good for us. And then I read the other little paragraph that was in there saying that, there's going to be another comic book line to go with it. You could have knocked me over with a feather at that point.
I heard that the comics are actually just going to be little mini ones that are packed in with the toys.
That's... Whether they're mini or not is something here that is yet to be fully decided
shown.
yet.
Well, they could do both. I mean, they could have like the miniest of, because they did that with the comics. I noticed when I was really deep into the comics, like when Friends Forever first came out, they had those little they're like little mini booklets, and they're like smaller versions of not the Friends Forever.
You're thinking of the micro fun packs. Yes, they do.
Yeah.
However, what's currently being looked at with the My Little Pony line, and this is from my understanding after talking to this from what I've mostly gathered from reading it here, is that it's not so much the size of the book here that's going to be in the packaging, but whether or not it's going to be a full 20-page book, or if it's going to be a shorter 6-page story that's currently being worked out.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no guarantee that it's going to be repackaged material, or if it's going to be all brand new material, if it's going to be a full-size comic book included in these things here, or is it going to be a micro fun pack size comic, which, again, would kind of fit in with some of those smaller single packages, but again, it's just really, really too early to actually know what's going to be going on there.
Mm-hmm. So these toys are basically, confirmed. They're coming out. And I'm kind of in the, like, I don't want to say the cynical market, but I'm kind of, like, confused as to how these toys are going to, like, if they're just going to be the type of offset merchandise, kind of like the comics or the vinyl figurines or something, where they don't necessarily have to have a set amount that they have to sell that's equivalent to like the brushables or stuff like that. Like I'm concerned as to whether or not these toys are economically viable for the type of demographic that Hasbro is shooting for, whether it's little boys or our demographic or something along those lines. What do you think, Borg? Do you think that these are, like, do you think that A, these toys are economically viable, and B, if they are or aren't, why is that the case?
Well, so it's kind of interesting to see. So we saw at the Toy Fair a lot of the new packaging that comes with these toys. Before the release was just of the toy. So it's interesting to kind of see the packaging, and it kind of gives us a little bit of insight. So this is still some really, really basic beta packaging. Again, this stuff is coming out in fall. So it's interesting. It looks like it still has the bright colors, still has the the big My Little Pony logo, still says ages 4+. So they're definitely hoping to push this, on the Toys R Us and Target aisles, right next to, a standalone pony. Whether or not it'll last there, I know their advertisement showed little boys playing with these toys. What are these stores going to do? Are they going to start, putting a separate My Little Pony, collection in the toy aisle? I noticed that sometimes in Walmart there's actually a kind of a movie aisle where it has all the movie toys in it. So are they going to have to move My Little Pony stuff over there? It's really an interesting. It's interesting. I've seen where Hasbro wants to go, and I see kind of how they're pushing it. So I'm interested in what they're telling to their resellers, how the resellers are gonna handle it.
I would assume we could probably look to the Transformers franchise in terms of what we might be able to expect from it. To a certain extent, in terms of where they're going to end up putting it in the mix they're going to, I guess, focus on. I wouldn't be surprised if once the movie comes out, they kind of shift more towards a movie-focused marketing strategy. That seems to be definitely where the Transformers brand has gone. Just because that's where the most viewership they have comes from, and they still have Transformers Prime and the shows that are, I guess, in a different canon, but the majority of their sales and majority of their attention is coming from the movie franchise, and I would imagine that's what they're hoping happens with this movie release. And then, God forbid it does well and we get a couple sequels in it too, but I would imagine, you mentioned whether it's going to go to the movie aisle, so to speak.
And
I would imagine it types that way.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's cool that you pointed that out, because that's something that kind of has been Hasbro's MO, is taking their IP and just reforming it. I mean, we're on the 4th generation of My Little Pony. I can't even imagine how much Transformer stuff there is. Last year they had 3 different Transformers shows. They had one on Cartoon Network. They had and 2 running on Discovery Family, and so it's.
We had one running on Discovery Family. Prime's been gone for a long time. Oh,
that is true. Prime has been gone for a long time. But they were quick to redo it, and and they've been doing the same thing with their toys. And so I think it's great that they've kind of established My Little Pony as a one of their main thing. And so I don't think this will be the last strange thing we see come out of the My Little Pony toys.
So would you say that the standards that Hasbro has for these toys would be like relatively high when it comes to like how much they want these to sell? Like, is it going to be put alongside the same like sales figures, for lack of a better word, as the Brushables and the Equestria Girls toys? Like, what do you think, Q?
Hasbro is a business.
Mm-hmm.
They don't go out of their way to create a product purely for altruistic reasons.
Yeah.
If they did the My Little Pony, if they did the Littlest Pet Shop cartoon series would still be airing.
Yeah, the question that was more along the lines was because I would imagine that the comic series doesn't have the same sales figure expectation as the toys or anything else correlated with the show, because the comic series is kind of more of an offset brand or licensee, for lack of a better word. So that was kind of my question, was would it be, what do you think, that because they're aware of the type of demographic that they're pushing, that their sales figures or expectations would be lower compared to the regular Brushables?
No,
same.
No, because again, what Hasbro is doing here is taking a big risk with actually opening up the My Little Pony line to be more than just little Brushables that they produce for the toys and the little mini figurines that they're all doing here. The thing here that you brought up about the IDW comic line here not necessarily being as well known as the rest of the franchise here is that there's one thing you're overlooking about that here. The IDW My Little Pony comics here are IDW's #1 selling book. It's been that way for 4 years straight.
I was not aware of that.
Yeah, consistently. That book has stayed at the top. I mean, that's the reason why after 4 years, this book here is still getting 3 variant covers a month.
Yeah, and they're also getting... Don't they have Friends Forever and the regular series?
Yeah, they've got 2 ongoing series here. So there's 5. They've got 2 ongoing series here, and both of those books here are still getting multiple variants every month.
Hurts my wallet.
Never, ever happens in comics.
Wow.
Comics, usually after the first 5 or 6 issues, the number of covers here that any one series here gets is just 1.
Yeah,
the fact that we're still getting 3 a month is insane.
I think I remember you telling me that about how, all of these cartoons that are given their own comic variants, they usually don't last very long, but MLP just keeps writing strong, basically. And they keep having, new people added to the writing staff, Jeremy Whitley. He was added during Friends Forever, and that was after the original My Little Pony comic already had, ridiculous, double-digit issues released already.
Yep.
Yeah, I always hesitate to, I guess say that the fandom is directly responsible for anything. Mm-hmm. I guess it's an instinct to lean towards being a little humble about it, because I know it's very easy to overestimate our impact and our importance in their market.
Yeah, that's kind of what I said too.
Yeah, between what Illustrious is talking about with the comics and then the fact that this toy line exists, I find it hard to think of a situation where us existing as the concept didn't have a really significant part in making this happen. Because even if it's not directly, focused towards us. It's still toys for like the under 10 age group, or maybe even under 8, considering how big the parts are. These are very much, less, I guess, female-typed toys, if you want to go down the traditional line. Like, they're not the brushables, they're not the standard figurines with no posable parts and, no weapons. I think, the Chrysalis figure comes with a sword, shining armor, and is riding a fully grown-sized Spike, and both of them are in battle armor. Those are all very traditionally, male-oriented toy characteristics. And, for better or for worse, I keep thinking about Lauren Faust in the first couple seasons when she was talking about her idea for the show, and talking about, like, she would play with her toys and, send them on adventure and create stories for them and do all the stuff that wasn't just taking care of them or doing the necessarily strictly female type things. So I would, I said for better or for worse for it, honestly lead towards better, that we're creating enough of a wave that they're actually willing to take this risk and to move more, pretty significantly towards gender neutral programming here, both in terms of their toy line and in terms of the actual media that we see with the characters in.
Which goes towards the reason why this toy line here has to be able to survive on its own without the comics. Because if it can't, then, well, that's it for the toys. The toys here really need to be able to stand on their own. The comics can help tell some of the stories or relate some of the interesting stories here that these toys here represent, or that they're, or the scenarios here that these toys here are trying to convey, which is great. Having toys that are either inspired by the comics or directly relating to the IDW comics is amazing. It is fantastic that it's happening here. However, the success and the failure of the toys is not going to be dependent on the success and the failure of the IDW comics. They're two completely separate entities. The toys need to be able to succeed on their own. That is the only way that we will be able to see more waves of this toy line come out in the future. Not just have this one initial push and then kaplooey. That's it. Back to brushables, back to the blind bag minifigures. Figures as far as what Hasbro here is producing. This is really, really a chance to see whether or not toys can actually be made and marketed towards children of all ages and all genders. And the comics really, really, really should not be the driving force for these toys to succeed or fail. That said, the one good thing that could happen with the IDW comics, should these toys prove highly successful, is that more awareness could be made for the comics because of the toys, which would in turn lead to increased sales of the IDW My Little Pony comics here, which could possibly mean for a more profitable books in the future, and or possibly, well, basically from there the possibilities are endless. One of the interesting things here that popped up from the New York Toy Fair here is that we actually got a really good look at Queen Chrysalis. Chrysalis in her box and outside of her box with her accessories laid out in front of her. The helmet that comes in that set comes straight from Fiendship is Magic 5.
I remember you wanting to bring that up, and I haven't actually read that one. Is there a particular correlation to that?
It's Chrysalis's helmet that she wore when she was destroying the city of Trot.
Is that the city where they were all the little critters and they stole their love?
No, that was a...
That's all I remember from Chrysalis's comics things.
That was the opening arc. Fiendship is Magic deals with Chrysalis's backstory here.
Oh,
But the
okay.
important thing here about that helmet here is that it's only appeared in the comics.
So
It
you're
hasn't shown up anywhere else.
So you're saying that the toy designers are having more of a continuity for the comics?
Continuity isn't the right word to use, but definitely they're drawing inspiration from the comics for some of these toy designs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think continuity is more of a media type thing, but that was for lack of a better word.
I had wanted to point out something kind of interesting that a lot of people haven't picked up on yet, and that is the Guardians of Harmony is the toy line, but there's actually a subset of Guardians of Harmony, and that is the Guardian of Harmony fan series, fan set. Which includes the Celestia and the Luna that we've been seeing pictures of. Because those are just statues that stand still.
Yeah, and they're beautiful.
And they are beautiful, beautiful statues. They're actually quite a bit larger than the rest of the toys. For a little bit of a size comparison, they're about as the toys themselves are about as big as the entire packaging that houses, the Chrysalis and Spike, the little Spike figures.
And that's pretty big.
And what's also interesting about the Nightmare Moon and Princess Celestia figures here is that they're done in a completely different style than the regular Guardians of Harmony line.
Right. It is definitely a more artistic style. But it's actually hilarious to see that on the packaging that premiered at the New York Toy Fair, it says fan series underneath Guardians of Harmony. And, when you release a subset, I don't think this is the full line. I think there is definitely more to come, especially when it comes to the fan series.
Oh, that goes without saying here.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Considering that this is supposed to debut during the fall, I think what we just got at New York Toy Fair here was just a small sampling of, okay, this is the brand new toy line that we have. This is what we have ready to show. As time moves on, we'll have more and more stuff coming out. Leading up to the full launch.
I'm just getting more and more excited the more you guys are talking about, more of these figures. My wallet is going to be really sad.
So's mine.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to clear out a whole shelf on my room.
I'm gonna have to
buy
put
shelves.
up
a few shelves.
Yeah.
Buy shelves. What's kind of cool is that, skipping away from the Guardians of Harmony for a second, if you looked at the rest of what was coming from the New York Toy Fair, almost every single thing that they were coming out with in their standard, four hooves, My Little Pony toys was extremely show accurate. They released a bunch of Nightmare Night set. They're going to release a bunch of Nightmare Night sets with the Chariot and the Bat Pony and all of the costumes on, the CMC and, other ponies, including Mayor Mare, Derpy. It's all going to be completely show accurate. No styling hair, no brushes. It's all molded plastic.
Wait.
And it looks fantastic.
Whoa, wait. Where did you see this?
Oh, it's in all of the shots. So
I completely missed this.
You completely missed this. So Guardians of Harmony aren't the only cool things coming out of this. There's a whole bunch of really show accurate things coming out, including the kind of the 4-6-inch brushables. They got the photo finish coming out, some rarities, the Starlight Glimmer. All these, sure, they have some strange fashion accessories, but they look like things they've actually worn in the show.
Oh my gosh, you gotta catch them all.
You gotta catch them all. And they're really pushing that. Yeah, they're really pushing that articulated foot thing, which we see quite a bit in the Guardians of Harmony, because their action figures want to be able to position their hooves, put them in a situation where they're still doing that in their traditional brushable line as well.
Yeah, and I think that speaks to a real evolution in terms of their focus and their target market. I guess the phrase that's often thrown around is, they think of the old G.I. Joe figures from the '70s with the advertised kung fu grip. Like, the movable parts is not something that's very typical to female type toys. I mean, even a Barbie with the arm joints, there isn't a whole lot more to it other than that, because it doesn't have to be terribly posable. The I guess theory that went behind the Barbie design was it's there to be dressed up with and, put in certain situations, but not necessarily to be posed or to be put into weird situations or you might expect young boy to do with his toys. And that level of customization, I guess, and ability for creativity goes a little beyond what we've seen from the line so far. So if that's true, and I actually hadn't heard about that either with the what you just mentioned about the more articulated, just show accurate models. If that's happening in addition to this, I would see this less as an experiment and more as a really concentrated movement, like something that they're kind of redesigning from across the entire brand here. Yeah, the Guardians of Harmony might be an experiment in the sense that it looks very focused towards something that the show really hasn't touched on, in the sense that there's battle armor and weapons and whatnot. But when you have the more traditional models also having some of those characteristics, I'd say that speaks to a little bit more widespread of a change, and that's also pretty exciting and pretty innovative for anything in this kind of market, in terms of what has been, since its very inception, a strictly female-only toy that is now, for the first time ever, branching out beyond that a little bit.
I've been wondering if this push to be more show accurate has kind of come across as, Hasbro came out with Equestria Girls to compete with Monster High. That's everyone's best guess. That's analysts' best guess. They did this. Well, all these other toy companies are coming out with ponies with, stuff on their butts. And, if we look back some of these older toys, there really wasn't a whole lot of difference between a generic pony and, made by some toy company, the official Hasbro stamped one. Remember getting those blind bag figures that had just a recolored Rainbow Dash's, Fluttershy. So, maybe this is Hasbro's push to kind of solidify their brand, so that way when, the little girl runs through the aisle and says, "I want Pinkie Pie," here's Pinkie Pie, here's a pink pony. It's like, no. This clearly looks like Pinkie Pie over here, not this random pink pony.
Yes, you're picking up Diamond Tiara, not Pinkie Pie, and they are two completely different characters. The shade of pink is a moderate cerise of a RGB. I don't know. But
we made it this far without you going on that tangent, so I think that's really impressive.
Yeah,
sounds like a win.
30 whole minutes, good enough.
Really, yeah.
So the other question that I had for you guys is that, do you think that, and we'll start with Q, do you think that apart from the comics, are they going to have more, shall we say, continuity? Or at least, are they going to have Guardians of Harmony and more stuff besides the comics? Do you think it's going to be either a arc in season 6 or 7, or... I mean, I doubt that we'll have a different TV show. I feel like that's putting a little too many eggs into the basket, but do you think that there's going to be something additional apart from the comics? Would that be easy enough to do? What do you think, Q?
I would like to see it. Will it actually happen? I do not know. That is the absolute most honest answer that I could give. Mm-hmm. If the whole toy line here that's going on with Guardians of Harmony just does not seem to... well, first of all, they're giving every single pony here some variation of either a sword or a shield or a sphere, and I'm like, We really haven't seen ponies outside of the Royal Guards with this stuff before, so seeing them armed is something here that doesn't exactly fit with the aesthetic of the show. But at the same time, it can be argued that Rainbow Dash has technically enlisted into the military reserves when she joined the Wonderbolt's reserve, so I don't know.
Yeah, like the closest thing that any sort of fighting or armor being used was recently in the finale when the changelings invaded Zikora's hut and they got in little playful slappy fights.
No, the closest thing we actually got to actual fighting here was World War Sombra.
Well, that too. But they were still doing slappy fights in World War Sombra as well, if my memory serves correctly.
I mean, I'm still pleasantly surprised we got any of that finale at all.
Yeah.
And I felt like that was a departure from the norm that Season 5 already was. And again, like it's exactly the same thing I've been emailing Mike Vogel in the dead of night about for years, but
yeah,
it's something that appeals like naturally to me because I'm the guy who is into that kind of stuff. I'm probably not quite in the Michael Bay target audience, but I'm like one step removed. So I'm really fascinated by that. So what interests me about this toy line is the possibility that it's already incorporated into the show or into the canon at large, and we haven't seen it yet. Because I'm wondering, especially the Spike model is what sticks out to me. Because the rest of the stuff is all like, okay, maybe they just took some license with what's already established. With Chrysalis and with even the Changeling figurine and the Shadow Bolt and all that. But the one figure that sticks out is just completely divergent from anything I've seen is the Spike figure. And him paired with Shining Armor. That seems like it's either, okay, they just made up a really cool model, and yeah, it's technically Spike, quotations in the air next to that.
Well,
but I'm also
the thing
wondering
is
if that's something... Have we seen
the
that?
thing is, yes, we have seen grown-up Spike before.
In
Greed isn't your colors.
Yeah, well, okay, to be fair, we've seen grown-up Spike before. We haven't seen him in that context.
Yeah, we haven't seen him in armor, which is a completely new context.
There's a new context. And it's interesting to note that toy with the Spike, which does a fantastic job of showing him as like what he looked like in the show grown up, but it includes a baby Spike. Like you do the transformation, yourself kind of thing. Pretend Spike transforms into this raging beast with, armor and can have a pony ride on his back.
Yeah, so Spike Smash.
We can't say that. We're going to get copyright banned.
Yeah.
Spike destroy in a violent manner.
Yeah.
What topic were we on?
We were talking about whether
Spike systematically dismantling things at a fast rate of speed.
Yeah, Spike basically taking the Avengers 1 subplot where
not the Avengers. The Revengevers.
Yes, the Mayor Avengers.
We can't say Avengers. Yeah, no, that's still too close. That could be logically confused.
No, I mean...
Power ponies.
You have an M and you put an A, an R. I can spell. And you put an R in there, too. That's
the Avengers.
Yes. But the regular subject before we got caught off from already being caught off was whether or not they would add additional media options to what we have. Insofar as it would be Guardians of Harmony would be a theme of season 6 or 7, or whether it would be just in the show somewhere, maybe one episode never heard of again, like Rainbow Power, something like that.
That was actually something I was building up to, was wondering if it was going to show up not in the show, but in the movie.
Yes, the movie.
Mm-hmm, that's also a possibility.
That's what I'm thinking / leaning towards in terms of what I might believe, just instinctively. Especially given the size of these models and the degree to which they've been detailed, I suppose. That would not surprise me at all if, for example, the Spike model, which is what I was focusing on, if that features into the movie, especially with Shining Armor being involved in what looks to be a military capacity.
Yeah, so are we just going to get a big, huge World War for the movie?
I mean, sure. I mean, that was
yeah.
like third or fourth on the list I sent to Jason Tiessen, but I could deal with that.
Well, what was 1 and 2? Was 1 like Diamond Bloom, and then
No, I kept that at number 4.
okay.
Number 1 was just remaking Fight Club, but with horses.
Pray God,
like
what
the
is
drug analogs and like the coffee references.
Pray God, what is number 2?
I think I flipped a coin between like gladiator fights, and that was the entire pitch, versus like this weird crossover of like Dread, The Hunger Games, and I want to say like The Notebook, just so we can get the ladies in.
I mean, that's still not weirder than Jeremy Whitley's
It's
comic
like-
idea.
Every night, like, the last person to not be in a relationship is murdered on live television, and it becomes a game show. So it's got romance and drama and violence.
So Starlight Glimmer's the first to go.
Yeah, she's voiced by Jennifer Lawrence.
Jesus Christ. If none of you have anything to add, I'm just going to go to questions.
Please.
Oh, okay. I had yeah, go ahead. Go to questions.
Did you want to add something, Borg? I guess.
Well, I was actually going to ask the rest of you guys who you thought was like the most armed. Like who's the most dangerous? looking?
Chrysalis.
With her, like, she apparently throws those spinny wheel things.
She throws wheels. I was confused.
Which
Oh my
I
god,
guess
did they actually do like a throwbot thing? I couldn't figure out what
Yes,
this was
they
for.
did.
yes.
Okay, show of invisible hands. Who remembers throwbots?
Nope.
Me.
Okay, so before Bionicle, that was like the first Lego
Yes!
Technic, like action figure deal.
I remember this now.
No one remembers them, but they were awesome. And then they used like the flicky arm disc throwy things in a couple Bionicles, and then gradually moved away from that in favor of the masks and stuff. Because masks are cooler.
I'd have to agree that Chrysalis is definitely the most armored, though I'm still kind of confused on what exactly is happening with Twilight. Like, she looks like a pair of tweezers. With what's like happening, or like some sort of like farm implement. She looks like she's about to like reap some corn.
Yeah, it looks like
That's going to be Applejack's special power. She turns into a plow thanks to her element ability.
form of a giant plow. It's the Earth Pony power.
Equipment.
The Earth Pony power they never told us.
Yeah, it's like everyone else gets like really awesome superpowers, and she's just like, yeah, I turned into a grain tiller.
Yeah, it's part of the Apple family.
Got the harvest done real quick this year. So.
That's why you never
that's
see all of them at once, because one of them is like a bucket and one of them is like a plow, and Applejack is like bucking trees, and it goes into like the bucket, which is Big Mac, and like
Question.
Well, actually, let me check something real quick on that.
But to answer,
Please don't look up Big Mac being used as an apple bucket.
yeah,
No,
I don't want to know if that's a
on.
real tag.
I don't. That doesn't sound like something I need to see.
anything is a tag on Derpy Baru. Aqua, you silly. I mean, Pinky is armed with a cannon and her realization of the fourth wall. I think that's all she really needs, so I would say she is the most armed.
That's cool.
Well,
Have we seen other?
yeah.
Have we seen other ponies with these heart barcodes on them?
Wait, you keep seeing stuff that I'm missing. Heart
So-
barcode?
I get the feeling like
So,
you work
sorry,
for Hasbro and
I
you're
don't-
very slowly cracking your like secret
Slowly-
identity.
Yeah.
Like you were
I'm just-
supposed to subtly
I'm
see
really
stuff and you're
into
screwing up
toys,
everything.
I'm really into it. No, so I haven't been able to find them on the Guardians of Harmony set, and that's because they're wearing too much stuff. But on the other stuff they're releasing this fall, all of the ponies have a heart on one of their, and it has a series of dashes around the outside, which corresponds with a code that you can scan with your phone
One of their what? Where's the code again?
on their
It's on their
foreleg.
forehoof.
Oh, okay.
On their fore. And so it looks like, I don't know if it's like some sort of like crazy augmented reality thing, or if it's just like scan this so we can sell you more toys.
It's the
That's
step in
actually
the
been
conversion
used-
process.
That was actually first used and experimented with with the Equestria Girls Friendship Games toy line. So And it's being continued on now into the Everfree Forest toy lines for the Equestria Girls dolls.
I guess it's a marketing strategy working out for them. I don't buy a whole lot of Equestria Girls, so it's just interesting to see this now on their on the ponies.
Yeah, I haven't bought a toy in a while. I was trying to stay up with the vinyl figurines, and I stopped at Mod, and I don't know if they have any others that are coming out because I bought
They haven't come out with anything since Mod and Cheese Sandwich.
Okay, so I'm missing Cheese Sandwich. Because I remember buying Cadence and Shining Armor and being like, oh my god, these are way more expensive. Because they're bigger. And then
they're pretty much the same price.
Really?
Yeah.
I got gypped. But the comics, I fell behind on the comics. I only have one brushable pony thing, and I'm looking at these Guardians of Harmony things now, and I'm like, oh my god, my wallet. Please. I'm a broke college student. I can't afford all this stuff. But I must.
That Flurry Heart, I'm just watching this video, and that Flurry Heart, that Princess Spoiler Flurry Heart, is the most
spoiler.
Princess
Spoiler.
Spoiler.
Baby next season spoiler.
This doll is like the size of a torso and is the most terrifying thing I've ever seen in my life.
Do you think she's going to be a Guardian of Harmony? Is she going to be the princess of fighting stuff?
I said it before last week, and I will say it again this week. Flurry Heart is Starlight Glimmer.
Oh, yeah,
doing a river song.
I forgot about that. It's the Starlight Glimmer was it the past or the future? I forget what your headcanon was.
Flurry Heart is the past of Starlight Glimmer. Starlight Glimmer is Flurry Heart's future. In essence, what Princess Flurry Heart is doing is a river song from Doctor Who story. Have fun, everyone.
Well, if you
that's
think about it
really
that way,
significantly ruin my Twilight Starlight shipfic.
well, if you think about it, Starlight Glimmer's childhood friend, Sunstone, is actually Twilight Sparkle's son. So let that sink in for a second.
No, that's 3 degrees of incest, and I'm only comfortable with 2.
No. Clearly Sunstone here was supposed to be Sunset Shimmer. That's the only thing that makes logical sense.
Is that why they played Dude Looks Like a Lady when the episode was ending?
Exactly.
That makes sense. Okay.
I was wondering if I was the only one that heard that.
Yeah, it makes more thematic sense, but before we ruin the show for anyone else, let's just go to questions.
Sweet.
Yeah, that was what ruined the show for someone.
That's what.
That was the kicker. We joked briefly about incest. Never heard that before.
Oh my god, the comment section just goes ablaze. Not cool, man.
This toy's terrifying.
Alright, so let's rapid fire some of these. Do you think the idea will actually catch on? I think pretty much all of us said yes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I certainly hope it will.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Aqua's gonna like this. You've been given a Michael Bay movie's budget and Guardians of Harmony toy line. What insanity do you create?
Fight Club.
Borg?
Michael Bay's and oh my gosh. Oh no. I would probably do a recreation of Army of Darkness. And I think maybe either Pinkie Pie or Twilight Sparkle
would be what?
Bruce Campbell, the main character.
It would be Pinky.
Yeah. Q, how about yourself?
Out of the two of them.
Oh, it's very, very simple. I would hire Michael Bay and have him do a My Little Pony meets Transformers live-action movie. Have fun.
Would you just slap Michael Bay on the hand whenever the script is about to become retarded?
Yes.
Just slap him on the hand, be like, no, we're doing this instead. And then...
Exactly.
I want to commission George Lucas to write the script, not because I'm going to use it, I just want to see what he would do,
Yeah.
and then I would just write my own script.
Just be like, no, I can
Because I feel like Michael Bay has a lot of probably extra money in the budget that probably doesn't need to be spent. So, with some proper financial management, I think you can get a lot of extra stuff done. Put $100 million into the stock market, spend another $100 million on a couple weeks in Vegas, and then whatever's left, I guess you just send it to a sweatshop somewhere, whatever the show is animated at normally. And, just get a little hour short film put out, and then buy yourself a Ferrari.
Yay, I like Ferraris.
I don't know if that's technically,
I don't think that's
screwing around with the board of directors or the shareholders' money, but,
I mean, they won't know, especially since you didn't just admit it right now. So, I mean...
Yeah, I'll live in Dubai anyway, so...
That's true.
Come and get me.
Yeah, I mean, my answer would just be to make Doomsday Arcade, which is... Pixels, but better because it's not by Adam Sandler.
Also because it's not finished.
Shut up.
If you're going to plug your own damn fanfiction, I'm going to rag on you for it.
I'm sorry, it's the best idea that I have.
You can probably think of better ideas.
I'll think about it while this next question is.
What if you wrote a story, but it didn't have button mash in it? So it's already better. It took me 3 seconds.
Oh my god, these shots! You're so mean.
Are we still rapid firing?
Yeah, I'm just looking. No,
So
no,
not exactly
no more.
rapid fire then.
Please reload. No more shots at me. It hurts my feelings.
Oh, but it's so easy.
It really is. What do you think the comic series will be like in comparison to the other series? Q.
Oi, 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 oi.
Besides, you don't know. Take
The
just
Weird Noises Power Hour continues.
Yeah, just take a random guess.
It's probably going to end up being completely different in tone and scope from the Friendship is Magic and the Friends Forever comic book series here. Friends Forever is Friends Forever is exclusively slice of life stories here featuring a team up of 2 different characters here to work on solving a particular problem or go through an adventure together. The My Little Pony Friendship is Magic comic book series here is basically the comic book version of the cartoon series. Series with new adventures here coming out every single week. For the Guardians of Harmony comic book line here, considering how action-adventure this whole thing here is based here, we're probably going to be getting a whole lot more adventure stories here in these comics here. We are probably going to end up getting a whole lot more action-adventure stories in this comic line. Probably a bit more violence, probably a bit more fantasy magic, probably a lot more bad guys showing up here than just, oh, I'm King Sombra, I'm going to go show up for 4 issues, or I'm Queen Chrysalis, and I'm going to go ruin Twilight's life for 4 issues. 4 issues, or even Nightmare Moon coming back. Kind of. We're probably going to be seeing a lot more of the bad guys in these upcoming books.
I have a question for you guys. Based on all the new lines we're seeing and the new direction it seems we're going, 3 years from now, what's the worst fan fiction that we're going to see as a direct result of all this stuff? I want your opinions, and I'm not taking notes.
It's very, very simple.
Whatever you write.
It's the fan fiction where it turns out that Princess Flurryheart is actually Starlight Glimmer. Have fun.
See, we're all just plugging our own stuff again, and Vic's plugging my stuff, which is weird. Like he's moved a level on.
Because I knew you were going to just make fun of whatever I was going to plug if it was mine, so I just immediately went to yours.
Okay, well, if I set myself up for the dunk, I'm going to finish it.
I mean, honestly, it has to be the weirdest thing would probably be Spike and Shining Armor.
Spike X Shiner. Yeah, okay, I can see it.
Yeah. Where like
that already exists, but the larger version.
Well, I just
But the
mean
larger
like
version.
Interesting.
yeah, like Shining Armor gets up on Spike's back when he's all big and everything, and then it just turns into like a 5,000 word diatribe about how Spike doesn't want Shining to get off his back.
I just want it to be that scene from Meet the Spartans. where they make the formation of jumping on each other's backs. And the guy who's playing Leonidas says, "Unclip your sword, it's digging into my back." The guy goes, "But I'm not wearing my sword." Looks back, "Never mind then." That's what I'm imagining. Let's just do that.
We're like right on the line. We're gonna get like an email from Seth in like a week or so.
Have you not read my follow-ups?
Yeah.
I exist in perpetual stasis on the line.
Yeah, it's whatever I can get away with. I remember you saying that.
Literally.
Over and
it's
over.
not an exaggeration. I remind people of my explicit goal.
And it's wonderful.
To see what I can get away with.
So this question's kind of a build off of one of the previous questions we already asked, which was, if there was a series based on the toy line, would you rather it be a continuation of the show, which includes more dark themes, or a completely alternate universe? That means it replaces the current show or has its own spin-off series. Borg?
I would rather see it be a continuation of the show, and I say that just because it seems like they were really trying to be show accurate with their toys, even to the point of putting the rough scaly patches on the arms of legs of adult Spike, just like he appears with on the show. I think it really just needs to be maybe a continuation. Maybe we get a series kind of like it. A season.
I wouldn't be surprised to see it as a direct continuation, but a very significant divergence from what we've seen before. I think we actually talked about this a couple podcasts ago.
Yeah,
in terms of what future of the series might look like when Gen 5 might come in, or when Gen 4.5 might happen, and wondering whether the movie is going to be a pivotal transition point.
Yeah.
And something like this, I could see that being a transition point. We're moving from what the show has been in Gen 4 to something a little different. You might call Gen 4.5 if it's got the same characters. And really taking a very different tone to things. So that's what I could see happening. I don't know if it will happen. It'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, it also kind of just makes sense thematically because, the last season was a little progressively darker compared to season 4. It was playing with more darker themes like existentialism and depression and stuff like that. And I feel that it's kind of taken it one step further, but with just different themes they could play with, different ways to write the episodes. I'm pretty sure Josh Haber would have a field day with a series based on Guardians of Harmony. Same with Larson. What do you think, Q?
It would either have to be a direct continuation of the Friendship is Magic series or a spin-off series. And if it were a spin-off series, the caveat here is that it should not focus on the main six. It really, really should focus on other characters and other aspects of Equestria to help expand the universe as to what's going on. To also help give some identity, to also help show that, yes, while Twilight and her friends are really, really important, they aren't the only ones who can step up to the plate and help save the day.
Yeah, I was actually wondering that whether the show is going to try and have other people be the types of heroes that the Elements of Harmony are. Because we had that in Daring Don't, and then never again. And I was always liking that. I was always wanting, other people apart from the Elements of Harmony to be capable of solving the Elements' problems. I remember talking with Silverquill about that a while back. It just seems like it'd be really interesting to have more people be able to be as important as the Elements.
It's Silverquill's number one critique about the series here is that...
Yeah,
it's Silverquill's number one critique here about the series, how the main six are always, 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 without exception, the ones who have to save the day.
Mm-hmm.
It gets repetitive, it gets boring, and while I agree with him to a certain extent here, the other thing that you have to keep in mind is that the rest of Equestria aren't the stars of the show.
Yeah, well, not only that, but I also talked with him about that, where I was like, there are other episodes where the side characters were kind of inherent to the episode finishing correctly. Like, Crystal Empire, I believe it was. You know, Spike saved the day.
Yes, he did. And he got a nice huge stained glass window because of it.
Yeah, and then he saved the day again in the games episode. I forget.
Yes, and he got an even bigger statue out of it.
Yeah. Long story short, if people just start saving apart from the elements of harmony, they just need to get a big, huge statue.
Exactly. And have an entire city start worshipping them and have a royal princess call them the Great and Glorious.
I mean, that's one way to
Every
create
single
jobs.
time his name is
Just
mentioned.
build statues for vigilantes.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, we need a statue for Double Diamond, you know.
Yeah, and then we make a big, huge, and then the season turns into, like, the Dark Knight, where all these vigilantes become questioned, and then...
You're thinking of Watchmen, and I was also going to go more towards the One Punch Man route, where they just had the hero registry.
Oh, okay, so now that action figures are an official form of pony merchandise, what is the next form of official merchandise you want Hasbro to make?
Transformers, My Little Pony.
I think he means type. I was actually thinking about this other day. You know, what you know, walking through the toy store. What are they going to do next?
Legos.
I want a video game.
Yes, Legos.
I really want Legos.
I want a good
Or
video
Mega
game.
Bloks. It would be like the mediocre, slightly retarded younger stepchild of Legos, but... I mean,
Well,
it still
see,
counts.
I
They
feel
try.
like those
Destiny
two
Mega Blocks. I'm going to buy those.
those two companies are just like not getting in it. I actually think that I want to think that we're going to have a reversal of IP licensing, in that instead of Hasbro, Disney toys, we're going to see Disney make some My Little Pony theme park rides.
We were actually...
Okay, that would
We
actually
talked
be
about that in
neat.
another podcast, too.
Yeah.
That'd be really cool if it did happen. There was a big, long thing that I talked about in that podcast about why I didn't think that was incredibly likely. The basic gist of which was that it's a pretty large expenditure to put a ride in a theme park, and it requires a lot of rights negotiation, and it would probably take Hasbro either having a pre-existing contract with a theme park, like if they went under the Universal license, maybe. Because I know Universal does Transformers rides at their two big parks in Orlando. So that's maybe I could see it happening there. But that would have to be like, they'd have to sell the rights to Universal. So
Not necessarily.
there's a bit of a complication there.
Well, not necessarily sell the rights, but it could end up being in a similar situation as to what's going on with Marvel and their Islands of Adventure theme park area, and how that was particularly licensed out.
Yeah, Aqua, I think, mentioned that it would be kind of a compilation if Hasbro were to make, like, a theme park with all of their IP. It would be kind of... There would be a pony ride, and then, like, a Transformers ride, and then, like, a...
G.I. Joe!
Yeah, whatever else they own. I'm very ignorant when it comes to that sort of stuff.
Yeah. Then Disney could do the same thing with their shows that have, stuff themed after all their shows. And then in the, isolated corner that's not on the map, there's a really, really awesome Gravity Falls themed ride, but no one knows about it, and it gets canned after 2 years.
Is someone salty
you
about
can believe me on that.
the recent finale?
I actually haven't watched it. I just love the show, and I love the fact that it took 4 years for Disney to get 2 seasons of the show out.
It's pretty funny. So we got, do you think the toy line will survive for a long period of time? I am more, I'm more confident that it will after talking to you guys. Because you guys...
I think you have to define a long period of time.
Well,
Yeah.
see,
Because the
I
show
guess-
itself has only been around for 5.5 years.
Yeah.
right, and if
Not
you look
even,
at
actually.
it, a toy line always has a name associated with it, and a toy line never lasts that long. It's that toy season. That's how long it lasts. We have Exploring Equestria Toyline. That's what we have. So it'll probably get a different name if we, continue in this style of toy. Now, are we going to continue in this style of toy? Action figures versus something brushable with, the comb type to the duck cardboard. I bet that would really depend on how this starts selling out. And I think when it comes down to the fact that they're a toy company, they're going to make a product that's marketable. I mean, if this stuff bombs, it's not going to work. I don't think this stuff is going to bomb. Mm-hmm. I think it's going to be very successful, and I certainly hope that they would continue a similar style of toy after the Guardians of Harmony has had a run.
And of course, the question then ends up becoming, all right, is it still going to end up being tied in with the comics at all? So
I don't think so.
We'll just have to see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, I think that they're going to have just the comics, and then they're probably going to have something else, whether it be mini shorts or maybe it's put in a few episodes. I'm not sure, but I don't think they're going to have a comic.
Oh no! Oh no! 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 They're going to be tying it in with the Game Loft game.
I mean, didn't that game get canceled?
No.
No, the studio kind of got canned a little bit.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
But I would totally buy a Derpy hiding under a cardboard box.
So would I.
That would be pretty cool. So
could I interest you in a cardboard box that if you don't lift it up looks like there's a Derpy hidden under it?
No.
But it's actually just a cardboard box.
How much?
That would cut down on production costs a lot.
How much?
We could really move that. I think we'd start at $19.99. I mean, it's a big box. It's life size.
I'll take it.
It presents the illusion that there is a life size actual wall-eyed horse.
Is Solid Snake under the box instead?
No, it's an empty box.
Oh, okay. So we
you
get nothing.
pay $20 for it. And that's the important thing.
If these kind of articulated on-model figures had been available from the beginning, would your merch shelf be dominated by them already? Honestly, yes. Yes. These things look amazing.
I would probably have much more open pony toys. I keep a majority of my toys still in the packaging. But if I could articulate them, oh my gosh, I'd do crazy scenes with them. And I'm sure my roommates would have seen things.
Yeah. World War Equestria. Yeah, definitely.
I want to buy 80 of these changeling things and make my own personal army.
I would have bought every one
the
of
exact
them.
same thing.
Yeah, who was that guy who built the Battle of Helm's Deep out of Lego Lord of the Rings figures?
Oh wow, that was
had
amazing.
thousands of minifigures there.
Yeah, that was a while ago.
That must have cost
I remember that.
fortune.
Which of you just ate the most unhealthy snack before starting the podcast? Pretty sure that was Aqua. You said you ate donuts, right?
Yeah.
Does beer count?
Yes.
I probably
should have mixed my donuts with beer.
I probably have had 4 ciders so far this evening, so there's that.
So
I have to do it to talk to you people.
Wow.
I'm sober. I just had donuts in me.
Aqua and Borg are tied, I guess. What impact do you think Guardians of Harmony concept could have on the fanfiction community? Aqua, this is for us.
Oh no, didn't we just discuss this?
Will we see a flood of writers trying to establish their own headcanons prior to the official release and or appearance of it in the show? Yeah. I mean...
Yeah, so you know that gif of the dog staring at the cupcake who then looks off in the distance and Vietnam flashbacks flash into his eyes? Yeah, that's basically me right now.
I'm fully expecting that someone out there is going to end up taking the Guardians of Harmony name and just go full Guardians of the Galaxy on My Little Pony.
Yeah, someone suggested that in the comments. That was pretty much...
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, you're going to have the obligatory crossover fanfiction, which is going to be in the box for longer than it should be. And then you're going to have
Which is never.
Yeah.
Which is... And then you're going to have the just... Maybe the fanfiction idea that I previously gave. Hopefully safe for work. And then, yeah, I mean, once the toys come out, you're going to get an additional few. Aqua,
Hopefully safe for work, he says.
Aqua, I'm praying.
Welcome to the fandom. Let me be your guide.
Don't ruin this for me.
safe for work.
Safe.
Who
Oh,
the hell do you think you are?
Okay.
oh, it's okay, Vicky. It's okay.
I'm innocent.
No, you're not. You just wish you were.
If I say it enough, it's true.
No, it's not.
Okay, so
Now I have way too much evidence on you.
the final question that I have for you guys. I'm gonna invoke this week's poll as usual. Do you guys want more Daring Do episodes? Or I guess Q, it could also be a comic. Is Daring Do been in the comic recently?
No, she hasn't.
Like never?
She was appeared once in a fictional context where her fictional character ended up coming to life, but beyond that, no, she's never actually been in the comics.
So do you want more Daring Do in the comics and or episodes?
Yes.
Aqua.
I want an episode about Rainbow Dash cosplaying as Daring Do at a convention, and then everyone thinking it's actually her. And
That would be
she has to
hilarious.
have some whimsical adventures pretending to be Daring Do, except she gets obsessed with it, and for the rest of the season she dresses like that, and the rest of the cast gets increasingly more exasperated with it. Because it just throws off the normal episode plot, because they still have to deal with Rainbow Dash pretending to be Daring Do.
And that kills the joke.
Act 3 is just constantly them remembering that she's dressing up as Daring Do, and they just have to figure out what they're gonna
They keep trying to do other things.
trying to Daring Do other things.
Still, it's the running joke of the year.
Borg, how about yourself?
Well, I fully expect a Daring Do episode in which Rainbow Dash crosses a line, and Daring Do just kind of gets up in her face and says, "Hey, look, don't be so obsessed. They're just books for little girls."
And then look pointedly at the screen for 15 to 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And then Rainbow Dash pulls out her phone to post on Twitter, and Daring just takes it from her. She's like, no, don't you dare.
Oh, by the way, phones exist here now.
Yeah,
They
but
do?
only
Say
for
that
that
afterwards.
only for that episode. Just
Only
so
for that episode.
Yeah, just so that the reviewers can be like, what just
As-
happened there? And then the
As
next
Rainbow Dash is blatantly violating the personal bubble
Yeah.
of...
Did you want to finish that thought,
No,
Borg?
I don't want to finish that thought.
No? Okay.
The
Well,
personal bubble of...
Yeah.
Of Daring Do. Sorry, no, that cut off.
Oh, I like having the suspense.
The suspense of Daring Do. The personal bubble.
Just imagine her being perpetually, right next to people.
Okay, but before we could probably
That's
talk
going to
about,
be the story we see.
we could probably
Rainbow
talk about
Dash stands
this.
uncomfortably close to you for several hours at a time.
There's a feature box story if I've ever heard one. 1,000 words in the box for longer than it needs to be.
Yep. I'm already writing it.
On that note, I think we should end this session of the Equestria Daily Fandom Podcast. I would very much like to thank Borg,
Pleasure being here.
Aquaman,
Hello. Thanks for having me.
and the illustrious Q. Don't be weird this time.
Hooked on a feeling. Bum, ba-dum, bum.
Cut it off. End it.
I'm high on
Okay, good enough.
Indeed.
Good enough. We're done.
done.
We're done.
No,
Bye-bye.
shut up.
Bye.
You're
Go away.
in
No.
love with
No.
me.